Hello, hello, hello. This is Tom from Tom and Ruth Philippine Adventures. I know, do I look like the sun? Or is this the most yellow you ever seen in your life? Ruth bought me this as my birthday gift, and it's a exercise shirt. So I used it this morning when I did my walk. So today we're going to talk about updates, many different topics. I had like 6 topics I run in here, and I can't think of one right now, but I guarantee there'll be something I can talk about. Stay tuned. I'm restarting the video all over again. I did one. I'm going to delete it, but I'm going to start this one all over again. Updates here in the Philippines. What's going on? I have about 3 or 4 or 5 topics. Number one is this week is a busy week for us, but we're going up to the mountain this week. Okay, that's done. And because it's my birthday. Number 2 is we're going to talk about this. People that come to the Philippines, make sure you have some type of insurance. You get an accident in a car or whatever, and you're unconscious, and you have no insurance, and you have no one there for you. The hospital may or may not accept you, may deny you entry. If you're hurt bad, they may or may not accept you. They may deny entry. Okay? I hope you guys understand that. If you don't have any type of insurance, get it. They may or may deny you entry in that hospital. If you're unconscious and no one's there to speak for you or things like that, and you're knocked out, you may have a problem getting in. Okay? So just expect that. Just plan for that. Make sure you have insurance for that. Okay? Even if it's a Maxi card, spend $100, buy a Maxi card. It gains your entry into any hospital. Okay? I'm telling you for a reason. A man was in an accident, was not accepted into the hospital because he had no insurance. It was a foreigner. He was knocked out. He was still alive, transporting from this first hospital that denied him entry to this next hospital he passed. So be prepared. Another thing I want to talk about today is this is very, 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 very important. The guys that have your visas, make sure you keep up your visas. Make sure you always, if it's your passport that's running late, if it's this is running late, make sure you take the time and talk about that and do that, because the passport is very, very, very important, and you need to do that. The guy in Cebu yesterday was picked up. He's going to be deported for overstay. And yes, they do have an overstay list, and they will come to your house and they will pick you up. Don't think that you're overstay and it's been 1 year and you're safe and they won't come get you. They will come get you. All they have to do is go check your last location where you lived and ask the neighbors. Neighbors will tell. Okay? So they will find you. If you're a foreigner from another country and you're overstay, there is a list that comes out every year, and it has the names of people that's overstayed on it. They will come get you. Another American was up in Visayas, got picked up last week also. A guy in Cebu got picked up. His neighbors turned him in. So be prepared for things like that. So if you guys have visas, just go down there and work it out with them. They'll work it out with you. If you don't have any money, tell them what you can pay, and they will work that out with you. Say you can pay $5,000 a month, you go in there and pay $5,000 a month. They will work with you. If you can't do it, you just get with someone. They will work with you. But you have to go to a central office, a district office. They're not mean. They're not cruel. They're not going to deport you just because you need help. They will help you. They're really good about that here. So any guys out there, if you guys listen to this, it's overstay, contact them, go see them. Don't be afraid. It's better to do it now than get deported, believe me, because you're blacklisted. Another thing I want to talk about is living here in the Philippines. We always talked about the food costs going up and things that's attributed to that, and what's happening with that. We are noticing, and I mentioned this yesterday, quite a few things that's going up as far as the costs and expenses. So guys, be kind of prepared for that and just be aware of that. Let's see what else is going on. I probably have 5 or 6 camera stands around, and I got it propped up on a mirror. And why I do that, I have no idea. And it's just amazing how I do that. I come in here and the phone falls and everything else. But today's updates. Today I want to talk about Mr. Paul. Mr. Paul, the gentleman's living with the 18-year-old. They're getting married. They're going to get married, right? So he wants to get away from mama and papa and the family because it's all involved there in the deal. Once they get married, he'll start the process of taking her to USA. So he's going to take his 18-year-old wife to USA. So that's updates on that. And updates on the next person I'm going to talk about. Remember the gentleman, Paul, that the money was taken by the Filipina that was married here. He lost quite a bit of money. She did pay him another 50,000 peso for first of the month. So now he's received a total of 300,000 peso of his 18 grand. So 300,000 peso is what, 6,000. So he's received 6,000 back of it, 18 grand. Got to be thankful he's getting that. And she did come by and drop off another 50,000 peso, which is $1,000. So that's a good thing. So that's really a positive thing. We got a storm coming in, another low coming in, so it's going to probably be raining and another, time. My internet is still out. It's now down. It's been down for, I don't know, a few days. It's always down, never up. I'm using this other company I have. We're getting ready to go on my birthday this week. A little trip up to the mountain for a day or so. It'll be, 30 hours or so. You guys know how that is. So we're going to be doing videos up there like that. And so that'll be fun. That'll be actually exciting to do. The video yesterday got a lot of responses to that video I did yesterday, boots on the ground, costs, and what's happening. I mean, I just received another possibly 30 emails on that and people talking about that. And going to U.S., not going to U.S., and what is better, staying here or living there and all that stuff. But everybody has their own opinions about that. Some agree, some disagree. And so you know how that is. It's okay. It doesn't matter. I accept all those comments because just because someone doesn't agree with me, that's okay, and that's just the way it is. If they say, hey, Tom, you're wrong with that, okay, if I'm wrong, just prove it to me, Let me know if I'm wrong about something. I'll be doing another cost video coming up, monthly costs. I have to just sit down and write it out. It's on multiple pieces of paper thrown into a book in there. And so I'll grab that and write that down. So you'll be seeing that in the next few days, that particular topic. I'm going to also talk about this, and I was going to get into this, Overstay. There's a gentleman got picked up yesterday in Cebu for Overstay. Apparently, a neighbor, someone turned him in, and he's Overstay here in the Philippines. That's one thing. First things come first is take care of your visa. Make sure you're all free and clear. Your passport and your visa. Because if you need to end up leaving the Philippines for whatever reason, you've got it all available and you can leave. If you need to go get an exit clearance, whatever, you're going to board a plane. They're not going to get on a plane till you get your visa all squared away. So now they have him in some container area, hold him for deportation back to the U.S. Now, what if he doesn't have any money? Well, the U.S. Embassy has to figure out a way to get him back. And U.S. Embassy has ways of doing that, friends, family, and everybody else. They'll find someone to sign for him. If not, they will get him there and he has to pay the money back. And what payment plan or whatever, and he has to work that out with the government. They will work that out with him personally. So whatever the cost is, $500, $800, whatever. If they don't do it that way, and he's receiving a pension, they'll attach that money to that pension, and he'll be minus that money for a period of time, all at one time, depending if he agreed to it or not. They will attach it. And a friend of mine was drawing Social Security, and he still owed child support. And they were actually taking out his child support. For 3 years, it's $300 a month, and he was only getting like $1,200. So he received a check for $900, and the rest of that money was going to the child support. That's another thing. Of course, if you're not paid child support and things like that, you can't get a passport anyway. But he wasn't looking for a passport. He was just saying they will do that. Another thing I want to talk about is very important, is deportation. He is not the only one that's been deported. there is a list that comes out every January-ish, February, March, that comes out and it lists all the people that's not in agreement with their visas. And there are many Americans on that list. I forgot the last time I looked. This was last year. I looked. There was 2,000 Americans. There was more Japanese and Koreans and Chinese than there were Americans, but there was 2,000 Americans is on that list. I was going to do a video about it, but I felt like it was more pessimistic and negative, and I didn't want to do a video at that particular time about that, because at that time we had a lot of stuff going on with the honey badger, the COVID and all that stuff, so it kind of messed up all that. And I didn't want, because enough humdrum at that time. Remember all that and all the mess? It was April, May when I was going to do that video. Next thing I want to talk about is we are, as living here in the Philippines, costs have increased, as we've already talked about this. And we know this is going to cost you a little more. So the guys being prepared when they're coming here to the Philippines. Another thing I want to say, and I've already said this before, please, when you come to the Philippines, don't necessarily jump in and getting married that first month. Just don't jump in and get married the first month. I received 2 emails this morning from 2 guys. I don't know who they are. I never met them before. They said they're subscribers, but I've never talked to them. Said that they just did that. One arrived February, March, other one right after that. And then all of a sudden now they're married. They're married. Well, they married someone they didn't really know. And the person they knew, they didn't know, and they thought they knew, and they assumed they knew, and it was more about something else. You guys understand what I'm talking about, especially if it's a younger Filipina and things like that. Beautiful bodies and all this, that, and other. And you got an old guy gets in there and says, "Oh yeah, I'll marry you. You're 25 and whatever. I'll marry you." Well, one of the girls is 25, and he married her. He's in his 60s, and so it's on rocky roads now because she has Tampa all the time. And so what do I do? I said, well, you got to talk to her. You got to work that out. You should have worked all that out before you got married. And I said that in an email back to him. So I don't know what happened. Now, the other one is the same situation. His wife's in the 40s. He's in the 70s. And so they got married just really quick. And I don't understand it. Even when a time of need and you really need and you're lonely and this, that, and other, you can wait 6 months. You can wait a year. You can wait a few months anyway, 90 days at least, try to figure out, be with that person, even though it's adultery, right? Be with that person, not, it's up to you, it's your life, but be with that person, understand who they are, understand their actions, reactions, and then find out what their needs are and what they're like and what they're being around, their good days and their bad days, all that stuff. And I did that, Ruth and I did that. She knew exactly. I don't rarely have a bad day. Rarely. I mean, you can probably count all of my hands this many times in my whole life I ever had a bad day. Even when I was in surgery and things like that, I refused to have a bad day. If you wake up bad, you're going to be bad, right? I always try to wake up happy. Even though when I'm feeling bad, you wake up happy because you know what? This life is short. But the 70-year-old saying that I'm in my 70s and she's in her 40s and she's around 45, I think. And he says, we're having a problem. And the problem is communication. Well, that's the number one problem. It's always 3 things. It's interrelations, your relationship, doing your thing there. Money and communication. See, either one of those 3 things causes problems. Either you're not making enough money, you don't have enough money, your wife says you're not making enough money, or your husband's saying you need to get out and get a job, whatever. Communication. Always. And number 3 is always that. And this has been going on for 30 years. I mean, hundreds of years. What am I saying? 30 years ago, I went through that, meaning that the relationships having a problem in store. Not mine, but relationships in general.